Hello and welcome to Newsfeed, your daily dose of what people are talking about online, from news stories to what's trending. Now, the first ship carrying Ukrainian grain has left the port of Odessa. The ship, called Razoni, is the first to depart from Ukraine since the beginning of the Russian military incursion. Ukrainian MP Lysia Vasilenko shared this video of the ship leaving the port, saying it's not enough to feed the world, but it's the beginning. The breakthrough comes after the UN and Turkey brokered a deal signed by Russia and Ukraine last month, facilitating the resumption of vital Ukrainian grain exports. And diplomats are welcoming the news online. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba says the day of relief for the world has arrived after months of Russian blockade. And his Turkish counterpart Mevlut Çavuşoğlu says he hopes the process will continue without interruptions and problems. The top Turkish diplomat also pledged to do what is necessary to continue future exports. Razoni is the first of many ships leaving Ukraine. It's following a route decided by the Coordination Center in Istanbul with UN, Ukrainian, Russian, and Turkish officials. The ship, carrying 26,000 tons of corn, left Odessa in the early hours of Monday. It's expected to arrive in Istanbul on Tuesday. It will then be inspected by officials from the Joint Coordination Center. After inspection, the ship will depart to its final destination, Tripoli in Lebanon. Russia's port blockade stopping Ukraine from shipping grain sent shockwaves around the world. Grain prices soared, shortages even led to famine in some countries reliant on Ukrainian products, and reports say about 20 million tons of grain are in Ukraine awaiting shipping. Ukraine is responsible for 10% of the world's wheat, 13% of global barley, 15% of maize, and over 50% of the sunflower oil market. 87,192. Now that's how many people crowded into London's Wembley Stadium on Sunday to watch England defeat Germany in the final of the Women's Euros. That's the highest ever attendance for any match, men's or women's, in the tournament's history. The Lionesses' victory on home turf brought the entire country together in wild celebrations, both inside the stadium and at viewing parties set up around the country. Fans watching in Trafalgar Square even jumped into the famous fountain after the final whistle. Unsurprisingly, the English players were also ready to party after claiming their nation's first European title. They crashed their own coach's press conference after the match, dancing and singing "It's Coming Home," which has become an anthem for English football fans hoping to capture a major football trophy. England's only other victory came at the 1966 Men's World Cup. And to celebrate it finally coming home, a massive parade has been held in central London. Our Simon McGregor Wood was there and told us more about the festive atmosphere.
So I'm down here at Trafalgar Square, the central London fan zone, where 7,000 lucky fans have been allowed in to greet the English football team, the Lionesses, as they turn up to continue the celebration of their Euros triumph. They will, of course, bring the trophy with them. It was an historic night. England hasn't won a football tournament since the men did it in 1966. It is dominating media press coverage here this morning, and as soon as the final whistle blew last night, Twitter came alive with messages of support and congratulations from the great and the good. Her Majesty the Queen, the British Queen, said, "Your success goes far beyond the trophy you have so deservedly earned. You have all set an example that will be an inspiration for girls and women today and for future generations." And then there was this tweet from match winner Chloe Kelly, who scored the English second goal in extra time. She tweeted, "No words. I have no words. Love my team. I love my country." And this from the father of a young female footballer, Darren Voles. He tweeted, "My daughter started playing football at 4 years ago. Boys at school refused to play with her. Boots in shops were labelled boys, and there was hardly any coverage of the women's game. On Sunday, I'll take her to Wembley to watch the Lionesses. It means so much. at her game too. So the celebrations have continued here in London and all across the country for that famous victory against Germany. But now it's hoped that that will trigger greater and wider interest in the sport by women and girls. It was notable. So many of the people in that huge crowd at Wembley last night were women and girls. And people who've been driving the women's game in this country now believe, hopefully, the sponsors will come in, there'll be more TV coverage, and the women's game in this country and internationally will grow from strength to strength.
As Simon mentioned there, the Lionesses' victory has also highlighted the long history of female footballers being sidelined in England. The Women's Equality Party noted that the last time England won a major trophy, women were banned from playing football by the governing body. Ahead of this year's tournament, there were questions about how many people would tune into women's football. The user Troll Football hopes the finals record attendance will finally lay that issue to rest for good. Now, one father said he hopes this landmark win will inspire girls like his daughter to become anything they set their hearts to, from a princess to a lioness. Just like Leah Williamson, who 15 years ago dreamed big as an England mascot. On Sunday, she lifted the trophy as the captain of England's championship-winning team. Now, Spain reported its second monkeypox-related death over the weekend. Cases are spiking in the country and, along with it, misinformation. This thread from a doctor in Madrid went viral. He saw a man with clear signs of the virus on the metro and asked him whether he was aware of his condition. The man answered saying that he knew he had monkeypox and thought wearing a mask would prevent transmission, as that's what his doctor had told him. Bystanders didn't appear to be fazed by his condition either. Now, that thread reminds me of the early days of COVID-19. Well, the viruses appear to have changed, but the ignorance is still clearly there. So doctors online are trying to raise awareness by sounding the alarm on misinformation about monkeypox.
Monkeypox can be transmitted by contact with the infectious rash, scabs, or bodily fluids. It can also be spread via respiratory fluids, particularly after prolonged periods of close proximity. For example, during sex. Also, for example, during many other circumstances not including sex. The spreading rumor that it is spread via sex will mean that some people will get infected and will assume there's no way they could possibly be infected, which means there's going to be delays to things like testing and treatment, which means further spread of the infection.
All right, on to what's trending. Spain is trying to jail Colombian superstar Shakira. Okay, that sounds a bit clickbaity, but it's true. The singer is at odds with Spanish authorities over a $15 million tax bill. Shakira is accused of not paying taxes between 2012 and 2014, when prosecutors argue she was residing in Spain. She denies she was living in the country at the time and says she's already paid $17 million in tax. If Shakira is found guilty, she may face up to 8 years jail time or a fine of $23 million. Space watchers can breathe a collective sigh of relief after debris from an out-of-control Chinese rocket re-entered Earth's atmosphere and fell into the Sulu Sea between Malaysia and the Philippines. People around the world had been anxiously tracking the debris' trajectory over the past week, amid concern it could hit a populated area. U.S. Space Command confirmed the debris from the Long March 5B's rocket booster entered the atmosphere on Saturday over the Indian Ocean. NASA then criticized China for not sharing the specifics of its trajectory. NASA's administrator Bill Nelson tweeted that Beijing had failed to follow space's established best practices. And people living near where debris could hit have the right to know if they're in danger, especially in the case of large rockets like the 23-ton Long March, where debris fall carries the risk of a significant loss of life and property. But China's manned space agency later posted an update on Weibo, confirming that most of the debris had burned up upon re-entry over the Sulu Sea. Netizens in Malaysia have been sharing clips of sightings, with many initially believing it to be a meteor shower or fireworks. Videos like this have been shared more than 5 million times on Twitter. The Long March 5B, China's largest and most powerful rocket, lifted off on July 24th to deliver a lab module to a Chinese space station under construction in orbit. It's the third time Long March rocket stages have had an uncontrolled descent to Earth. with much criticism over what experts call their irresponsible re-entry. China's previous rocket debris landed in the Ivory Coast and the Indian Ocean. It's called supply and demand. Energy prices are rapidly going up everywhere. And one of the knock-on effects is the surge in demand for sustainable energy equipment, especially in solar power. The Russia-Ukraine conflict and rising inflation worldwide are making companies as well as individuals turn to the sun as an alternative power source. China has built 137% more solar power installations than last year. And according to Fortune Business Insights, it's expected to grow another 25% more in the next 5 years.
Hello, my name is Nobody, and I'm off-grid. I don't have any power lines in this location, but I got lots of things like a 240-volt pump, a complete PC gaming system, complete coffee bar, including the electric roaster, TV, a washing machine, a 3D printer, and more, but I think you get the point by now. And the panels, batteries, and the rest of the equipment cost me less than 10 grand.
He makes it sound so easy, huh? Well, it is easy if you can afford it. A residential solar system costs between $15,000 and $25,000. In the U.S., the Biden administration is proposing a community solar project to help reduce utility bills of low-income households. The project, which is currently piloting, works through a subscription to a solar company or nonprofit organization which distributes clean energy. The White House predicts a 20% drop in electricity bills thanks to the project, and by 2025, savings of $1 billion. Now, you'd expect with all the warmer weather, there'd be more solar power. Trade Association Solar Energy UK says temperatures above or below 25 degrees Celsius actually lower the efficiency of solar panels. According to experts, the best time of year for solar panels is April and May when it's cool and sunny. For more energy, solar panels need more sunshine, not heat. But the heat is having a positive effect in some places. Britain's Royal Horticultural Society Garden Hyde Hall in Essex has reported an unexpected array of blooms. Located in England's driest county, the Hyde Hall Garden says it's been able to grow flowers and cacti usually only seen in California. The change in biodiversity is alarming for some people, but the garden's curator says nature adapts to change and humans should follow suit. All right, so what's your comfort watch? Well, mine is watching movies you don't actually have to pay attention to. But for over 18 million people, it's watching other people clean their homes while they also clean their homes. A mother of 4 children and the owner of 2 dogs, Brianna James, has become famous on TikTok. In these time lapses, she's cleaning what seems to be a week's worth of mess. She says she and one of her daughters have health problems and that she's also lazy. But after her videos got millions of views, she says she now has the motivation to clean and stay accountable online. The Star Trek universe has lost one of its brightest lights. Actor Nichelle Nichols has died at the age of 89. She played Lieutenant Uhura in the original 1960s TV series and in later Star Trek films. Her portrayal of the Starship Enterprise's communications officer broke down social barriers. At the time, she was one of the only Black women to have a recurring role on primetime television. Tributes have poured in for Nichols. Her Star Trek co-star George Takei expressed his sadness in a pair of tweets saying, "My heart is heavy, my eyes shining like the stars you now rest among. We lived long and prospered together." Linda Carter, who played Wonder Woman on TV, thanked Nichols for showing the extraordinary power of Black women and paving the way for a better future for all women in media. Bernice King, the daughter of civil rights activist and avid Star Trek fan Martin Luther King Jr., also noted how representation, especially representation of Black excellence matters in media. And even NASA paid its respects to Nichols. The space agency partnered with her in the 70s to help recruit more women and people of color, inspiring generations to reach for the stars. British rock band Muse has announced they'll release an NFT version of its latest album on August 26th. The album, entitled Will of the People, will be the first release of its kind to enter the music charts in the UK and Australia. The NFT album will be the first new format added to the chart since album streams in 2015. It will be sold on the eco-friendly NFT platform Serenade. Music industry insiders say releases like this could be the future of music and digital art ownership. Let's wrap up the show with some music from Muse's upcoming album. Here's the title track, Will of the People.